Anyone online? Anything from previous class?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes,
Yes. Last time I think we started a little of 25th verse also, and this was very strongly the way you explained how one can be patient and enthusiastic at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you explained to us how we can be friends with like-minded people and showing mercy to someone who is lower than us. And always, it's very important to have association with with senior devotees. Whenever there's some senior devotee coming, we should try to attend the sessions. This is what I remember. And you had given us some assignment. You'd drawn those circles and you'd asked us that why, how, and what one needs to do when, and what's your purpose forever. Once that is clear, you'll be able to get to your goal. I mean, yeah, one will start.
Yeah, we looked at the purpose, the mission, and the vision. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was quite a lot of summary. Okay. Any other points anyone remembers? Previous class? You were not there. Anything from whatever you heard?
I think that Mataji mentioned that whenever there is a senior devotee speaking, we should also always attend these sessions.
Mm-hmm. And? हाँ अच्छा एक रहने दो एक बंद कर दो okay all right so let's start today's session so I think we finished 24 25th we'll start today शनैः शनैः उपरमेद बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किंचिदपि चिन्तयेत् So one can read the translation. Please go ahead.
Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of declarations sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind engages on the self alone and should think of nothing else.
Right. So, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Can someone switch off that phone, whatever is ringing? Thank you. So, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance. So, Krishna is talking about in this entire chapter, right? Like we discussed from sloka 11 to 33, he talked about sadhana and siddhi, right? So here again, he is talking about one of the siddhis, which is basically being in trance, right? Being in that perfectional stage of self-realization. So how he's describing, he's saying that one can achieve that step by step, gradually. So, like we were discussing last time, it's not, one has to have enthusiasm at the same time patience as well, right? Like we discussed the sloka from Nectar of Devotion, right? Utsaha, Nishaya, Dhairya, right? So there is Utsaha, there is enthusiasm, there is Nishaya, determination, and then there is Dhairya also, patience also. Why? Because Krishna consciousness is a gradual process. ऐसा overnight नहीं होता है कि हाँ एक रात को सोए अगले दिन कृष्ण प्रेम right so it's a gradual process I mean it can happen Mahaprabhu used to just meet someone embrace him or that person will embrace someone else and immediately they'll get Krishna prem. We hear this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We hear that in Chaitanya Charitamrita that instantly pura download ho gaya Krishna prem, right? Just by embracing someone who embraced Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the forest of Jharikand, he was passing through that forest और वो कीर्तन कर रहे थे और सुबह एक दिन सुबह उठ करके he was going to the river to take a bath. वहाँ पे elephant नहा रहा था. So he took some water in his hand and he threw, saying Krishna Krishna. So the elephant को जैसे वो पानी छुआ, the elephant also, which is two legs up like Krishna, he started dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. So even the tiger, even the deer, they were dancing together. Asha, we can pick it up. Yeah. So that's how Krishna brain can actually be immediately received also. But for us people of Kali Yuga, right, it's a gradual process. So Krishna Prabhupada describes how Krishna consciousness is a cultivation, right? It's a culture and it's a cultivation. Culture means to be cultivated, right? So it's a cultivation, and we don't learn some culture instantly, do we? We have to slowly, steadily practice the culture, and then we are accustomed to whatever the culture is. So like that, Krishna consciousness is a culture, and it's a gradual process. Step by step, we learn different things. Like yesterday, we celebrated Mango Festival for Adaraj Bihari. Right? Everyone saw the pictures? We'll post on the group as well. So basically, it's a culture, right? How small things of the Lord is celebrated, right? When Yashoda, when Krishna actually turned, he was just few days old and he turned, right? Side ghumaya. So Mother Yashoda and Nand Maharaj was so happy, and they actually held a festival. Ki Bhagwan ne turn liye. Right? So our culture is full of festivals. Everything we celebrate. So we celebrated Mango Festival also. Rain started, rainy season came. So last, rains के बाद mango खाते नहीं है, पेट खराब हो जाते हैं. तो भगवान को एक साथ, yesterday we had some 5,500 offerings of mangoes, 5,500 mangoes offered to Shri Adaraj Bihari. And we'll share those pictures for those who have not seen it. So, so one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction. So, since it's a cultivation, right, and it's a gradual process, step by step, a lot of times we'll be disturbed. Right? A lot of times there'll be things which are opposing to what we are doing. A lot of times our mind itself won't cooperate. Right? It won't cooperate. Like, आज मन नहीं कर रहा, आज नहीं जाते. Right? अरे Saturday program हो रहा था, तभी बहाना भैया कहते Saturday program है, we cannot come. Sunday को होगा तो आएंगे. Sunday भी कर लिया, Sunday भी लोग नहीं आ रहे. Those are online, right? So those are in Bombay, so they should come, right? So the mind also doesn't cooperate a lot of time, right? Laziness, some other reason will cook up. The mind can hundreds of reasons. It can argue with you like anything. I'll give you such powerful reasons that you'll be convinced. So, right, mind is also not supporting. So therefore, it is mentioned here that one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence. Intelligence considered to be superior than mind, right? And if we cultivate spiritual intelligence, we can easily win over the mind. Sustained by full conviction, right? So, उसके आगे एक और चीज जोड़ रहे हैं. Sustained by full conviction. A lot of times, mind will, throw such arguments that your conviction itself will be. कह रहे नहीं, जाके क्या करना है? घर पे बैठ के देखते हैं ना, online, right? Although you may have experienced offline, how it is maybe 10 times, 50 times better than online, still, आपकी conviction को हिला देगा, right? कि अरे नहीं आज online कर लेते हैं, right? So the mind is like that. So therefore, sustained by full conviction, we should be convinced of the fact that no, I need to have devotee association, right? Otherwise, I won't be able to, traverse this path for a long time, right? Because the mind will try to push you off the path again and again. And thus the mind should be fixed on itself alone and should think of nothing else, right? So if you do this practice and if you do this gradual cultivation, right, then the mind can be fixed on the self, and you will eventually come to a point that, right, you are thinking of nothing else but Krishna. And in the next few verses, very nicely described also. So let's see the purport. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahar. So yoga process mein pratyahar is which stage of the 8 limbs? What stage is pratyahar? Anyone?
Dharana, Dhyan, Pratyahar, you mentioned.
Yes. So which,
Yam, Niyam, Pranayam, Asana, and then Pratyahar,
yes. So
Dharan,
correct.
fifth stage.
Yes. 5th stage. So the first 4 stages, yoga rurukshu, and the next 4 stages are yoga rudha. Yoga rudha is mature stage of yoga practice. So pratyahar comes in starting of the mature stage of yoga practice. In Krishna consciousness, when we read through this purport, you'll know how we start with pratyahar. So by proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease these activities. This is called pratyahar. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation from senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved in matter as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should not think of one should think of no pleasure aside from pleasure of the supreme self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. So यहाँ पे प्रत्याहार के स्टेज के बारे में बताया and directly samadhi stage के बारे में बता रहे हैं, right? So where we begin in Krishna consciousness and exactly where we have to go, right? So yeah, by proper conviction, by intelligence through discussions, right? And gradually when we hear, right? Hearing is not just for hearing and यहाँ से निकाल दिया, right? We were hearing a class by His Holiness Hallab Swami Maharaj. I think two days back he gave Bhagavatam class. He was describing who can hear. Shravan kaun kar sakta hai. Right? You heard the class? You heard the class? Okay. So he was describing who can do Shravan. Because there are so many glories of Shravana mentioned in the scriptures. Bhagavatam and the scriptures. In Krishna book, right? So if someone just gives a attentive oral reception to this particular chapter, will go back to our head, or gives oral reception to this particular chapter, all the anarthas in his heart will be destroyed, or the lust will be completely destroyed. ऐसा महात्म्य है, right? So much glories of those chapters are given. So Maharaj was explaining why is this not happening to us, right? So he said why, because we are not doing Shravan. इधर से सुन रहे हैं, इधर से सुन रहे हैं. So he was describing how somebody who does real Shravan, right, real attentive hearing, right, the other two processes are very natural that follows, which is manan and thinking of how do I apply, trying to apply in your life. So reflection on what we heard and then trying to practically apply. These are two byproducts of hearing attentively, right, of actually doing Shravan. Then he was taking that sloka from Sri Bhagavatam, which described how one can actually come to the stage of doing Shravan. So that whatever he hears, right, he's able to grasp very nicely, pay attention. And at the same time, he reflects and he thinks, how do I practically apply? And actually starts implementing, right? Because that's where we want to be, right? Scriptures are not for just reading and khatam ho gaya, right? So he was describing how by Mahat Sevaya, right, by serving the spiritual master or serving the great Vaishnavas, he was describing how there are two waves of mercy. Krishna, he sends two waves of mercy. Initially, the first wave is the Acharya. right? Acharya or Guru, right, or the representatives of the Acharya. Right? So this is the first wave of mercy in somebody's life, right? Because of whom we get introduced to so many things: chanting, reading, right, associating with devotees, going to temple. And then he said, and here, Srila Prabhupada is there, right? Acharya is there. That's the first wave of mercy. Srila Prabhupada came, to reclaim us for going back and back to home. He gave us scriptures so that we can read, we can understand. His disciples are there whom we can surrender to and take guidance from and initiation from and go back and back. So that's the first wave of mercy. Second wave of mercy is uh, the DT form of the Lord. Krishna himself residing here. So Radharaj Bihari is standing there so sweetly for us, right? Just there, kya ho bhai, baat karo. Right? You can go and talk to him. And he very nicely reciprocates. Right? Yesterday, one devotee friend of mine, Mukund Vikai, you all have heard him also. So we were doing service inside the altar, and I had to leave. And then even when he had to leave, he called me saying that after 9 there will be mango distribution. Right? We have 5,500 mango distribution. So please save one mango for me. Right? And he said, Sharmana mat teen kar le lena. So I was in front of Gauramitai altar and I was just thinking, how will I get mango? Right? I was just thinking because तब तक mango बटना शुरू नहीं हुआ था. तो किसी को मैंगो बटना शुरू नहीं हुआ है. पुजारी जस्ट फिनिश दी आरती रखा 4 मैंगो उठाए मेरे हाथ में रख दिए आउट ऑफ नोवेयर. So devotees desire for Gopal desired, so भगवान ने arrangement कर लिया. Anyways, so by proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahar. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation. So, what we do in Krishna consciousness, right? Why I say we start with the stage of pratyahar? Because what we are trying to do is we are chanting Hare Krishna, so meditation is already included, right? Cessation of sense activities, the 4 regulative principles we are following, right? And by conviction. So, when you associate with devotees, right, you develop conviction to practice Krishna consciousness. So therefore we start with the stage of pratyahar, and at that time there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged. So this again, ये samadhi stage के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं कि once through this practice gradually when we go on like that, ultimately we'll reach the stage of samadhi where we'll be so much engaged in devotional activities, right? Whatever service you pick up, if you be engrossed in that, you completely meditate on that. Like again, I'll give you example of because that's like a very good example in front of me. So I'm giving the same example of my friend. He's not in samadhi though, but moving towards that, I'll just describe. So he's into making dresses for the Lord, Radharaj Bihari. So constantly that is a meditation. All the time he's thinking. जब भी हमारा phone पे भी बात होता है, he's simply talking कि अरे what do you think of this color? इसके साथ क्या match करूं? ये सारे patterns उस पे जाएंगे कि नहीं जाएंगे? This is the discussion. So when you serve the Lord so intimately, right? That's a constant meditation that goes on. And then so many other things also related to Shri Shri Radharaj Bihari. So that's how, I mean, we can pick up any service that we like, right? If you like doing kirtan, if you like doing cooking for the Lord, if you like doing, preaching for the Lord, if whatever we like, right? We can make that our meditation, constantly meditating gradually like that. Our entire thought process will be, centered around Krishna, right? That's moving towards the stage of samadhi, literally. And once we are in that stage, right, there won't be any danger of disturbances. Although we may be externally engaged in material things, till the time the body and soul are together, we have to, do our duties, etc. But the mind will be completely absorbed in the Lord. So that time we don't think of sense gratification, personal sense gratification, but gratification of Krishna senses. Like that. Okay. Should we move ahead? Next sloka. yato yato nischalati
yato yato nishyanti
manas chanchalam asthiram
Manaschanchala astiram
tastato niyamyaitad
tato niyatayat
atmani eva vasham nayet.
vavashat.
Someone can read the translation, please.
should I
Okay. Anyone online? Since you've read. Anyone online would like to read?
Yeah, I can read it. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self.
So again, the process of pratyahar. Pratyahar means the mind is wandering. You realize the mind is wandering, you capture it and bring it back and focus it on the Lord, like that. So this is pratyahar. This is what we try to do also during our japa, right? When we chant, the mind wanders here and there. As soon as we realize, we try to bring it back to hearing the holy name of the Lord. So it's very, very important to hear what we chant, right? So purport, the nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami, and one who is controlled by the mind is called Godas or servant of senses. So this is very famous. I think we've discussed this multiple times. So one who controls the mind is called Goswami, right? And therefore, in Nectar of Instruction, there's the first sloka, right, which describes how somebody who's controlled his senses can actually become guru, right? So vacho vegam manasaha krodha vegam jiva vegam udarapastha vegam etan veganyo vishahe tathira sarvam apimam prathimsa shishyat. One who can control 6 urges, right? 6 urge means a force which kind of drags us in a certain direction. So that's an urge, right? So 6 urges, vacha vegam, right? Urge to speak. Manasaha krodha vegam, urges of the mind and anger. Jiva vegam, right? Urges of the tongue to taste something nice and palatable. Udar upastha vegam, urges of the belly and genitals, right? These are 6 urges. One who can control these 6 urges is capable of making disciples all over the world, right? This is a qualification of guru. Right? So somebody who claims to be a guru, right, and goes and eats uncontrollable, right, watches television, sleeps more than necessary, right? He's not controlled his senses, so he's not a guru. He's just a show bottle guru, right? दिखाने के लिए, right? अपने senses पे control नहीं तो disciples को क्या control करवाएंगे, right? तो वो ऐसा लिस्ट डाल देंगे, ये सारे मंत्र जो लेना है ले लो, 1500 रुपए भर दो, right? बहुत सारे वो you go to BKC ground, there'll be हजारों में लोग बैठे रहेंगे, right? And there'll be a list of mantras. Choose as per your choice, right? As per your choice, you choose some mantra, whatever you like, and then you pay some amount and you're a disciple. Guru doesn't know disciple shakal nahi dekha hai. Guru pata hi nahi hai, shakal nahi dekha hai, right? And Guru ban jata hai. So Guru means one who takes responsibility of your karma, right? Imagine, agar, in fact, ये same situation Valmiki के साथ हुआ. Valmiki was actually hunting, right? He was killing animals, and when Narad Muni met him, Narad Muni asked, you're committing so much sin. Is your family okay with this? Are they willing to take part in this? So because he said, I am killing for my family. Like, पूछा है family वालों से, वो इसका भागीदार बनेंगे पाप का, right? And when Mrigari, right, he asked कि भाई मैं तो मार रहा हूँ, तुम लोग है ना, तुम्हारे लिए मार रहा हूँ, तो मना कर दिया, बोला नहीं अरे पागल है. So and then Narad Muni, he said, I will take part of that, and therefore he surrendered completely, because Guru, he actually takes away your sins, right? He actually takes charge of your karma. Right? Guru, he takes all your karma. When you become a disciple, Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpan, say Kale Krishna Tare Kare Atma Samarpan. He actually takes away all your karma. Right? Who will do that? Right? अब यहाँ पे हम थोड़ा बहुत सफर करते हैं, राइट, बुखार हो जाता है, बीमार हो जाते हैं, और कोई डिवोटी बोलता है प्रभु जी आपका कर्म है या माता जी आपका ही कर्म है, आपको मिल रहा है, ठीक है, सह लो, राइट. एंड समटाइम्स सो पेनफुल एंड यू थिंक पता नहीं क्या किया है मैंने, राइट, व्हाई एम आई सफरिंग सो मच, आई डोंट नो व्हाट डिड आई डू टू गेट दिस, राइट. एंड सो मेनी सच एपिसोड्स वी गो थ्रू इन लाइफ. इमेजिन ऑल ऑफ दैट प्लस द फ्यूचर जो मिलने वाला है, right? All of that the Guru takes on his head with a simple promise that you will practice what he says you to follow Krishna consciousness. Not that he has his own अपना agenda कुछ है. भगवान की भक्ति के बारे में जो rules and regulations वही बोलते खाली practice करो. For that he takes away all your karma. Who will do that? वो बोर्ड लगा करके हाँ भाई सभा में हजारों लोग मंत्र ले लो, उसको पता भी नहीं, डिसाइबल की शक्ल नहीं देखी आज तक, राइट. वैसा गुरु नहीं होता, राइट. गुरु मींस ही टेक्स अवे योर कर्म. सो parents are natural gurus, right? Parents are also naturally the guru of the child, because till the time the child decides I have to surrender to someone. So parents are responsible for the upbringing, and therefore they also partake of karma of the child. Earlier the king, he also used to get karma of the subjects, because the king was supposed to be the father, right, or the natural leader for all the population. So they would also partake of karma. 1/6 king ko jata tha. 1/6, right? And right now there are, I mean, this was again previous yugas, right? Right now each individual is responsible for his own. But even now, if someone is trying to be is trying to lead society, etc., right? Collective karma is something. So whatever policies they make because of which people commit sins, they also get. So जो नेता बना है, right? उसके सर पे बहुत कुछ आने वाला है, right? They may not realize their responsibility and behave irresponsibly even now, right? But the amount of karma they're generating themselves plus what people are generating for them is going to be massive. So it's very, very difficult position to be in, right? So therefore Rishabh Dev, he also says Guru na sasyat, Pita na sasyat, right? Mata na sasyat, Sujana na sasyat. He's basically saying that don't become a guru, don't become a father, don't become a mother till the time you can take them back home, back to God. Till such time that you're not trained yourself to go back home, back to God, and to take your dependents back home, back to God, don't become a guru, don't become a leader, don't become a teacher, don't become a father, don't become a mother, like that. Right? So very, very heavy responsibility. Right? We have teachers here. Okay. So we were reading. Yeah. So Goswami means one who has controlled his senses, and therefore he is eligible to make disciples all over the world. And we are following in the category of Godas, right? We are servants of our senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness, right? In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in service of Rishikesh, or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is a way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. So serving Krishna's senses, right, giving pleasure to Krishna, that is the highest perfection of our senses. Using our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, hands, etc. to serve the Lord, that is the perfection of our senses. Yes, Prabhuji, you have a question?
Yeah, Prabhu, could you please repeat the 6 urges to control? I missed out on that.
Vacha Vegam, that is urge to speak, right? Vacha Vegam, Manas Krodha Vegam. So urge of the mind, right? The mind wants to do so many things or plans so many things, right? Krodha Vegam, right? We have the urge for anger, right? Someone does something wrong, not according to us, we are angry. Jiva vegam, urge of tasting different palatable dishes through our tongue, right? Udara and upastha, the urges of the belly, right? It wants more and more food, and upastha, right? Urges of the genitals, like that. So there are 6 urges.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, so we can actually engage all these things in service of Krishna, right? Vacho vegam, right? So our urge to speak can be controlled by speaking about the Lord, right? Manasaha krodha vegam, our mind can be engaged in thinking about the Lord, right? We should train ourselves so we should hear so much that the subject dimag mein ho wo Krishna hi hai, right? So our mind can think of the Lord at all times, right? So Smaranam, Sri Prahlad Maharaj is one of the great examples of Smaranam, remembrance. So if you've done Shravan and Kirtan nicely, then Smaranam is very natural, right? So to have Smaranam, you should do Shravan and Kirtan very, very nicely. So our mind can be engaged. Anger can be used in service of Krishna. How anger can be used in service of Krishna? What is the example of anger being used in service of Krishna? Parshuramji, okay. Any other example? Arjuna, right? He was angry while fighting. He was not smiling and shooting arrows, right? He had to be angry for fighting in the battle, right? So using anger in service of Krishna. So he's Krishna himself. Hanumanji, right? He used his anger, burnt Lanka for serving Lord Ram. So anger also can be used in service of Krishna. Jiva Vegam, using our tongue for service of the Lord. How can we use our tongue for the service of the Lord? Tasting palatable, nice prasadam, right? Yeah. Hare Krishna, welcome. Then Udara Upastha Vegam, right? Belly and genitals. So we can use our belly, fill our bellies with Krishna Prasad, right? And we can use our genitals to procreate Krishna conscious children, like that. So this is how we can actually engage all these 6 urges in serving Krishna, right? And control them. Or one can also control their genitals, and actually there is 4 Kumaras. 4 Kumaras are, sons of Brahma. Hindi, English, you good with both? Okay. So 4 Kumaras, Brahma ji ki 4 bete hain, and so they basically are great mystic yogis, right? And they decided that actually devotees of the Lord. So they decided that we won't grow up, right? We won't grow up because we don't want to get entangled into the samsara. So we won't grow up. We'll remain children. So therefore they're Kumar, right? Although they may be very, very old, they're like millions of years old or trillions of years old, but they are Kumar, right? They are 5-year-old, looking like 5-year-old children, like that. So isliye, and they're like completely naked. So when they were actually approaching, the Lord Vishnu, so they had to pass through 7 doors, and the 7th door, Jai Vijay stopped them. Hey, nange bacche kahan ja rahe ho? Right? And they got angry, they cursed, and therefore Jai Vijay, they had to take 3 birds as enemies of the Lord. Anyways, long story, but they used. They took a vow of brahmacharya, and therefore they decided to stay as small children. And it is described how the semen can flow reverse to their brains, and it actually makes the brain so sharp, like that. So conducive for studying scriptures. So brahmacharya is very, very brahmachari especially, they have very, very strong potency and sharp memories. They have a lot of vigor and very sharp memory. Right? Like that. Next shloka. Prashant, okay, we are doing chapter 6. We are on shloka 27. If you don't have books, you can actually go to vedabase.io online, vedabase.io. You have a copy? 27 sloka. He's going to give you a copy. So we'll be chanting the slokas. I'll say the first line, you all can repeat. Prashanta manasam hi enam
Manassamhinam
yoginam sukham uttamam
nam sukhamuttamam
upaiti shanta rajasam
Aiti Shanta Rajasam
amma bhutam akalmasham.
Brahma Bhutama Kalmasham.
Someone can read the translation, please.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Okay, yes, Kavita Marji, go ahead.
The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all the reaction to the past deed.
Okay, so the yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. So, previous shloka they described how the yogi fixes his mind, etc. Right? And now the result is being described. The yogi who actually fixes his mind on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. Right? He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. So, purport: Brahma Bhuta is a state of being free from material contamination. There's another shloka: Brahma Bhuta prasannatma na sachiti na kamchiti. Right? So, Brahma Bhuta stage is where perfection is achieved, right, for a yogi, and that is a state of transcendental happiness. So Brahma Bhuta is a state of being free from material contamination and situated in transcendental service of the Lord. So Brahma Bhuta matlab already mukt ho gaya. Okay? Someone can actually be liberated, we discussed, even while living. ऐसा लगता है ना हम लोगों को लिबरेशन का कॉन्सेप्ट है बहुत सारे लोगों का कि when I die the soul will go and merge into the some light. Right? That's the conception generally people have about liberation. But liberation means swarupena vyavasthita, mukti mukutanjali vyavasthita, swarupena vyavasthita, right? Which means that mukti means being situated in one's own constitutional position, swarup, right? So constitutional position is nothing but jiver swarup hoy krishner nitya das. The constitutional position of jiva is servant of Krishna. Right? The soul is servant of God. That's the constitutional position of the soul. Do you understand this? No objections on this? I guess you're hearing this for the first time. Right? So we are calling you the servant of God. Is that okay with you? Okay. So it's very simple, just for your sake, right? This finger is part of my entire body, right? Now these fingers, they decide, why should we feed the stomach, right? हम सारा मेहनत करें, right? सारा काम करें और सारा मलाई खा जाए stomach, right? So why should we feed the stomach, right? The fingers decide. Hypothetical example, right? So they decide they will try to enjoy their separate food. Can they enjoy? What will happen to the fingers? Separately.
When you eat food, you get energy.
Yes. So what will happen if it thinks like this? It will be deprived of the energy that it would have otherwise received, right? So हम ऐसा कोई इंजेक्शन भी नहीं मार सकते बाहर से कि चलो finger satisfy हो जाए, right? Not possible. No matter what you give externally, it won't be satisfied. The simple way for the fingers to be satisfied, the fingers are part and parcel of my body. Serve the whole. serve the entire body by putting the food in the mouth. Reaches the stomach, digests, automatically all the energy required by the fingers to function is supplied, right? So when it serves the whole, duty of the part is to serve the whole. When it serves the whole, it is internally satisfied. We being part and parcel of the Lord. The soul, Jivatma, is part and parcel of the Lord. So duty of the part is to serve the whole. When we do that, we are internally satisfied. We don't need external things, right? So Brahmabhuta is a state of being free from material contamination and situated in transcendental service of the Lord. Mad bhakta labate param. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Manaha Krishna Padar Vindayo. To be always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contaminations. So real liberation means liberation from, the three modes, and especially the mode of passion and ignorance. There are three modes. Suna? Mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So these are like three strings controlling us, or three chains. One is a golden shackle, one is a silver shackle, or whatever, or one is a iron shackle, like that. So goodness means you get up early in the morning, you like to do some yoga, you like to do, take care of your health, you run, go for a jog, you like to eat very nice, healthy food, you like to be on time, you're very punctual, you like to help others, you like to give charity. These are all activities or nature of mode of goodness in one sense, qualities of mode of goodness, right? Mode of passion is, you like work is worship. You are like struggling very hard to work as much as possible, right? Over endeavoring, overeating, right? Anything over, ati, right? Anything more than necessary is mode of passion, right? So there is food also in mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. So too much tikha, too much khatta is all mode of passion, right? Balanced is mode of goodness, right? Mode of ignorance is stale, kal ka fridge ka nikal karke, all of that is mode of ignorance, right? So so mode of ignorance is again characterized by laziness, characterized by dullness, right? Sleeping, liquor, intoxication, all of that, right? That's mode of ignorance. So when you go beyond these three modes, there is a state called Shuddha Sattva. That's the stage of Brahmabhuta. So one can be there, right? One cannot be there unless and until one's mind is fixed on serving the Lord, right? When you're in touch with Krishna, when you're connected to Krishna, Krishna is pure, completely pure, right? So when you're in touch with Krishna, you're in pure goodness, which is about the three modes of nature. And that's a state where you're factually liberated. Okay, next verse. If you have any questions in between, please feel free to ask. Yunjaneva sadatmanam
sadatmanam
yogi vigata kalmashaha
yogi vigata kalmashaha
sukhena brahma samsparsham
sukhena brahma samsparsham
atyantam sukham ashnute.
asyantam sukham ashrute.
Translation? Someone can read? Do you want to read? Translation?
Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord.
So again, further discussion of the siddhi or the result. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. So, Robert, self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position and relationship to the Supreme. Individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsham. Right? So when you connect with Krishna, that's Brahma Samsparsham. Right? And we discussed this, how we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So when you're serving Him, you're in connection with Him, right? And this is the highest perfection of yoga, and highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Sarvabhutastham Atmanam.
Atmanam Sarvabhutani
Chatmani.
Ikshate yoga yuktatma.
Ishyate Yoga
Shate yoga.
Sarvatra samadarshanaha.
Sarvatra Samadarshana.
This is very, very interesting. Someone can read the translation? Yes.
Can I, Prabhu?
Next one.
A true yogi observes me.
You can read the next one. Someone here is reading. Next one you can read.
A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord everywhere.
So a true yogi observes me in all beings and sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord everywhere. Right? So somebody who is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, right? Or somebody has, achieved that contact with the Supreme, Brahma Samsparsham, right? A true yogi, he's a true yogi, right? Because ultimately he's the final destination of yoga, right? And what are the characteristics? He sees everything in me, right? He sees every being in me, right? Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. So everywhere now, this person is seeing Krishna. Let's read the purport. A Krishna conscious yogi is perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as Super Soul Paramatma. Any example comes to mind? We've discussed multiple times. Someone who's seeing Paramatma everywhere. We've given this example a few times. Prahlad Maharaj, yes, okay. He's seeing everywhere. Yes, it's a very good example. बोला इधर भी है, पिलर में भी है. बोला हाँ है. Right? That's one good example. Yes. Yeah, of course. थोड़ा previous. थोड़ा और previous. I had given an example.
Some other person will come and help you, so God cannot be everywhere.
So God is everywhere.
She cannot physically come everywhere.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. Sankhya Purvak Namagana Natibhi. Translation, right? One should, chant Sankhya Purvak, right? With count, one should chant Nam, Gan, sing, Natibhi, pay obeisances. For obeisances, I had given some examples. One of the Goswamis. इससे ज्यादा हिंट क्या दूंगा? अब 6 गोस्वामी है, उसमें से एक का नाम लेना, और क्या है? Yes. So that's Raghunath Das Goswami. He used to offer
So powerful.
yes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay. So Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. They were just there a few hundred years ago. Raghunath Das Goswami used to offer 2000 Danvat Pranams, right? आप दिन में 20 कर लो तो पता चलेगा क्या होता है. Right? So it's he used to offer 2000 Danvat Pranams. So 1000 he would offer to the deities and to the Vaishnavas, and another 1000 he would offer to anyone and everyone who would just pass by. Even if an ant is passing by, he would get up and offer full Danvat Pranam to the ant. Why? Because he was able to see Paramatma in everyone's heart. Right. That's Raghunath Das Goswami. So, the Lord is in his Paramatma feature is situated within both heart of a dog and that of a Brahmana. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present on all hearts. So the difference between us and the Supreme Lord is being defined here. So we as individual souls, we are present in our own body. हमको खाली अपना ही पता है कि हाँ, किधर दर्द हो रहा है. The consciousness is spread in just one body. But Paramatma, he is present in everyone's heart. He knows about everyone, right? Just like if there is a family, वो family को घर में कितना आटा दाल चावल है उतना ही पता है, right? They're restricted to that one house, right? They don't know neighbor ने खाया कि नहीं खाया, right? They don't know. They don't know कि शहर के बाहर दूसरे शहर में किसने खाना खाया कि नहीं खाया. They don't know. But the king of the state, he knows कहाँ पे कितना है, कितना सप्लाई कहाँ पर हो रहा है, and सबको मिल रहा है कि नहीं मिल रहा है. He knows like that. So similarly, Paramatma, he knows what is happening in your own body. What are you thinking? In what consciousness are you acting? Right? Like I said, 3 modes of material nature. Right? If you're giving charity, is that charity in mode of goodness? Right? Thinking, let me help. Is that charity in mode of passion? Oh, I'll give 5,000 rupees. I need my name in the board. Is that charity in mode of ignorance? Or let me fund some terrorist? Right? So charity in these 3 modes. So with what attitude are you giving that charity? Right? That Paramatma sees. So Paramatma is in everyone's heart. He's a Sakshi. How are you doing activity? In what consciousness? He notes down. Right? There are several Sakshis. Right? There is sun and moon. कोई बोलेगा मैं तो कमरे में बैठा हूँ, sun भी नहीं है, moon भी नहीं है. Right? But there are sun actually scriptures describe it has 1 lakh different kind of rays. 1 lakh. हमको तो थोड़ा ही पता है. हमको खाली वो क्या spectrum पता है, red to violet, and we cannot even see infrared or ultraviolet. Right? X-rays are one of them itself. Right? So how they can penetrate? X-rays can penetrate, right? So sun rays can still penetrate. Some rays which are invisible can still penetrate and see what you're doing right now. Please sit on the dari as much as possible. So the sun and the moon are Sakshi, right? They can actually see all your activities. Like there are several others. There is one very special personality, right? If I tell you, what's your name? Sudhir. Sudhir, if I tell you that somebody is clicking your pictures, right? Wherever you go, even in your bathroom, somebody is clicking your pictures, right? Every single activity is recorded. That personality is Chitragupt, right? Gupt tarike se chitra lete rehte. Right? He's having an entire record of what you do, where you do, what, everything, right? So like that, there are several Sakshis, and one of the Sakshis is also Paramatma, right? So that's what is being described here. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence either in a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is situated in the individual heart but not present in all hearts. That is a distinction between individual soul and super soul. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. Right? So somebody who's not a yogi, he cannot make out the distinction between Atma and Paramatma also, or he cannot even understand that Krishna is present in everyone's heart, right? Or Paramatma is present everywhere, like that. So by the way, we are doing 6th chapter 27 shloka. You can pull up vedabase.io and go to chapter 6 Bhagavad Gita, 27 shloka. We can use. Sure. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both the believer and the non-believer. So therefore, a Krishna conscious person, he doesn't like to offend anyone. This is not working properly. Please, if you can. You sit. So a Krishna conscious person, he basically can see or at least understand that Krishna is present in everyone's heart. Somebody who's obviously who's perfected, he can see also Paramatma in everyone's heart. Right? In the Smriti, this is confirmed as follows. Atattvak cha matrivat cha. Balmukunda Prabhu, you are having a question? Prabhu, you want to ask something? Hare Krishna. Okay, I guess maybe an error. We'll move ahead. A Krishna conscious person, yes. In Smriti, this is confirmed as follows. The Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kinds of children, the Supreme Father or Mother is also, he's neutral. So Krishna says, what is the shloka in 9th chapter? Anyone remembers? Krishna saying, I am neutral to everyone. What is the Sanskrit for it? Sure. Sammoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshtosi na priya. Right. Krishna is saying that I am equal to all. Right. So Lord, being like a mother or a father, is neutral to all different kinds of children. Right. They love them equally. Similarly, Krishna loves everyone equally.
But in one lecture of Radhanath Maharaj, he said in his lecture that Krishna is partial to devotees.
Yes. So just like the mother and father, they may love all the children equally. But somebody who's an obedient child and who's also helping others, ki bhai, tum bhi obedient bano, right? You will have some special liking towards him, right? Special facilities are given to that person, ki bhai, theek hai, baki sab kuch sudharo thoda. Right? Okay. So consequently, the Supreme Soul is always in every living being. So imagine Krishna is there as Paramatma in everyone's heart all the time, right? When we die, right? हमारे parents or spouse, right? कहाँ तक छोड़ने आ सकते हैं हमको? चिता तक, right? Max, right? Friends, relatives, everyone. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा चिता तक छोड़ सकते हैं. But Krishna is one friend who continues with you no matter where you go. You're in a human form, he'll be with you. You're in a dog's body, he's there. You're a worm in the stool, he's still there. Right? So he's such a friend that he never abandons you. Right? And he's simply waiting there to see when will this guy turn to me. Right? Imagine इतना patience किसके पास है. Right? किसी friend को बोलोगे कि भाई मैं रुक आता हूँ. कितना वेट करेगा आधे घंटे में हम फ्राई हो जाएंगे. Right? But Krishna is such a friend. He's there, he's waiting with you, sitting next to you, right next to you, and waiting when will this guy turn to me. And he's been waiting for millions of lifetimes. That's the patience of the Lord. He's waiting for millions of lifetimes, but he's still there with you.
That's why he's always smiling.
Why? He's anyway smiling. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all the living entities, all in different situations, according to the results of fruitive work, in all circumstances remain servants of God. So somebody who's liberated, somebody who's actually Uttam Adhikari's vision is being described here. So there is Kanishta Adhikari, one who's just starting, right, amateur. There is Madhyam Adhikari, somebody who's, seasoned, a little bit practiced, but not yet Uttama. And there is Uttam Adhikari. So Uttam Adhikari's vision is everybody is servant of the Lord. Everybody is serving the Lord, either directly or indirectly, right? Either serving Krishna himself or he is serving Krishna's energy Maya, right? So indirectly or directly, everyone is serving the Lord. But better is to directly serve the Lord, right? Not to serve Maya. Okay. While in the material energy, living entity serves the material senses. And while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is servant of God. This vision of equality is perfect in a person in Krishna consciousness. So somebody who's Krishna conscious, he naturally has, it's like when you love Krishna, you can love everyone. So this is the perfect vision of somebody who's Krishna conscious, because he is loving Krishna. He can see every individual soul as part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore he loves everyone, and he sees everyone engaged in serving Krishna somehow or the other. Right? Karmi be engaged in Krishna service only indirectly, like that. So, an Uttamadhikari, he thinks that, oh, this person is so much more better than me. I am not engaged in Krishna service, but he is completely engaged in Krishna service. Right? Even for a materialist, he'll think like that. That's again on Uttam stage. So, Uttamadhikari is not able to preach because of this vision. So, a lot of times, Uttamadhikari come down to the level of Madhyamadhikari to preach. Right? Like Srila Prabhupada is an Uttamadhikari, but it comes to level of Madhyama to be able to preach. That Madhyama has to make distinction, right? This is devotee, this is trying to be a devotee, this is not a devotee yet, like that. Yes.
So how is your vision? Just
So their vision is that they are seeing everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, right? When everything is being seen in relation to the Supreme Lord, right? You have gratitude, you have respect, you have love for it. So that's their vision. So no matter who you are, what you are, they'll see you with that vision of gratitude, compassion, and love.
how does he change?
Huh?
How does he change the person?
How does he change the person?
Dogmatic.
Uttamadhikari, just by his presence. Lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Right? Lava matra means 1/16th of a second or 1/17th of a second. Right? Even that much association of a pure devotee can change someone's heart completely. Right? Srila Prabhupada, when he used to go in Los Angeles temple, I think I've mentioned this, not temple, sorry, Los Angeles airport. So Srila Prabhupada was supposed to arrive at Los Angeles airport, and from far devotees saw them. There was nice kirtan going on in the airport. Those days, devotees were able to do kirtan in the airport. So very nice roaring kirtan was going on. And फिर दूर से Prabhupada कांच से दिख गए ना, बहुत दूर से, they started like jumping up and down, literally touching the floor, ceiling. इतना जोर-जोर से कीर्तन हो रहा था. And then Prabhupada came down the escalator, and devotees were like even more enthusiastic. As soon as he, alighted the escalator and walked towards them, everybody just left everything and went flat on the floor. Right? Dandavat pranam karne ke liye, flat on the floor. So His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj told this, that he was also there standing, and since everyone was on the floor, he had no space to go on the floor. So he remained standing. And then he saw how everyone was paying obeisances. All the devotees, there were some 100 devotees who had come to receive Prabhupada on the airport. Everyone was flat on the floor. And then he saw a bigger crowd also on the floor. Right? There were people, businessmen with their suits and suitcases, flat on the floor. People who never knew Prabhupada, who Prabhupada is. Pata hi nahi kaun hai, fir bhi they are flat on the floor. Right? That's the effect of Srila Prabhupada. Just by his presence. That's it. Yes. Somebody who's not heard name of Krishna. जिसको कुछ पता, हाँ इंडिया में भी फिर भी हो जाता है, ये तो लॉस एंजलिस है, पता भी नहीं है, सूट वूट के साथ में नीचे. Right? That's the presence of Prabhupada. It was so powerful. Yeah. Terrorist nahi. It was not like that. It was not like that. Right. Yes. It was Srila Prabhupada's presence, literally. And a lot of people talked about his presence. Like some devotees, they were describing how when they were sitting in a class for the first time, and Prabhupada looked at them for a few seconds. So devotees later, they narrated how, they thought that Prabhupada actually is looking inside, kya chal raha hai, and he could scan everything what is going on. And when they would ask a question, Prabhupada would give the exact reply that was going in their minds. Question nahi bhi pucha na, he would just look at the person and say something. चलती क्लास में कुछ बोल रहे हैं और घूम करके एक जन की तरफ स्पेसिफिकली देख करके एक लाइन बोलेंगे, which is exactly for that person. This has been the realization of so many devotees. So why they are able to do this again is because Krishna is completely in charge of the senses. For a pure devotee, his heart is Vrindavan. right? Krishna is personally residing there, right? Tumhara hridaya sada Govinda Vishram, Govinda kahena mora Vaishnava paran. So Krishna is personally residing and he is in charge of all his senses, right? So whatever instructions you receive from such a pure devotee is directly coming from Krishna. Whatever his actions are, right, is directed by Krishna. So he may be intending to just speak the lecture, but then Krishna is guiding his senses. He looks at certain person and says something, right? And that person is touched because he wanted to hear exactly that. Okay. The yogis see equally because I think we read this, no? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any questions or thoughts so far? Okay, we'll do the last sloka for today. Then we'll stop. The internet gaya. Where's my phone? No. No, it's working. It's working. Okay. So, shloka number 30. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. Someone can read the translation, please. You want to read? Yeah.
For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor he ever lost to me.
Yes. So Krishna is saying, for one who sees me everywhere, right? Brahmabhuta Prasanatma, this is the personality which we discussed, the perfect yogi is seeing Krishna everywhere. So someone like that, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, right? He's seeing everything belongs to Krishna. All the material energy is actually Krishna's energy. He could relate that very easily. I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So for such a person, Krishna is never lost to him and he is also not lost to Krishna, which means that he is always conscious of Krishna. Krishna himself is also very conscious of this devotee, right? Oh, there is a devotee like this, right? He's remembering me all the time. So Krishna remembers you, right? Such a person, Krishna describes, right? Antakalicha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. For anyone who remembers whatever at the last moment of death, that state they will attain without doubt. And if someone remembers me, they will come to me, right? So Krishna is saying this in 2nd chapter, if I'm not mistaken. So, or 7th chapter. What chapter I forgot, but yeah, he says this. So, whatever you remember at the time of death. So Krishna is saying in another shloka in Bhagavatam, he's describing if someone is unable to, for some reason, chant my name at the time of death or remember me at the time of death, right? At the time of death, someone is in coma. He is not actively able to chant his name or remember him, but he has sufficiently served in his entire lifetime. For such a person, Krishna says, I remember him and take him back to God, right? So if he cannot remember for some, external circumstances, not able to remember, but he served sufficiently throughout his life, Krishna will remember him, take him back to God. Right? So he is never lost to him, nor he is lost to Krishna. Huh? Yes, there are good examples like Dhruv Maharaj or Prahlad Maharaj. Right, Dhruv Maharaj, when he was when the Viman came for taking him back, he thought, "Hey, what about my mother?" So he was indicated, "Dekho, wo pehle ja rahi hai." Yes. So Prahlad Maharaj, I think Prahlad Maharaj ke section mein aata hai that how I think how many 30 generations before and after they are like liberated like that. Okay, so purport. A person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere. He sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of material nature, but in each and every instance, he's conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. So again, a very, very famous story of a cobbler, right? So once there was a cobbler, and he was stitching his shoes, and बाजू में एक ब्राह्मण थे, वो बहुत अच्छे से अपना, he was doing his Gayatri and everything. And Narad Muni, the transcendental spaceman, he was traveling and he saw, there is such a nice Brahmana, he is doing his Gayatri so nicely and this and that. So he went and approached this Brahmana, and he said, "Oh, I'm actually going to visit Lord Vishnu after this. Do you have any message for him?" ब्राह्मण तो बोला, अरे वाह, भगवान के पास सीधा डायरेक्ट मैसेज पहुंचा रहे, अच्छी बात है, राइट? सो he said, अरे just ask when I will come back to you, like that. ठीक है, I'll ask. And he also saw this cobbler. He was singing nice bhajans of the Lord and he was stitching his shoes. So उसको भी पूछा कि I'm actually going to meet Lord Vishnu. Do you want me to ask anything to him? कोई मैसेज है बोल दो. So he said, "Arey, I am satisfied. Don't no problem. Just offer my obeisances to the Lord. So don't you want to know when we will go back home back to God?" हाँ ठीक है, पूछ लेना. Like that. So Narad Muni went and he visited Lord Vishnu, and he asked these two questions for the Brahmana and for the cobbler. So भगवान ने बोला, वो जो cobbler है वो तो अभी आ जाएगा. After this is the last life, he'll come back to me. Brahmana will take many lives, right? So Narad Muni is scratching his head, this is such a nice Brahmana, इतना अच्छे से मतलब गायत्री वगैरह कर रहा था, इतना अच्छे से सारा अपना पूजा वगैरह कर रहा है. Why will it take him so many lifetimes? What is this mystery? So the Lord said, ठीक है, if you want to understand, you will understand. When you go down, you give the answer what I gave you, and वो लोग जरूर पूछेंगे कि what was I doing? भगवान विष्णु क्या कर रहे थे, वो सवाल पूछेंगे तुमसे. तो उनको बोलना कि मैं एक सुई की नोक से हाथी को गुजार रहा था, राइट? आई वाज एक्चुअली सुई की नोक से हाथी को पार करा रहा था. सो नारद सेड ओके, came down and he went to the Brahmana first. So Brahmana was very excited, got up and prayed obeisance. अरे नारद मुनि आ गए, क्या बोला भगवान ने, when will I go back to Vaikuntha? So Narad Muni said, "Arey, it's going to take a very long time." चल झूठे. I don't believe you. You did not even go to Vishnu. तुम नहीं गए होंगे, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है, right? तो बोला, अच्छा बताओ क्या कर रहे थे भगवान? When you went there, क्या कर रहे थे भगवान? So Narad Muni repeated, he was actually passing an elephant through the eye of the needle, right? So he started laughing. बोला, ये थोड़ी होता है ऐसा कुछ, right? This is not possible. You did not go to Vaikuntha. And he continued. So Narad Muni understood the attitude, right? And then he went to the cobbler. So the cobbler, respectfully paid obeisances and asked, how was your visit to Vaikuntha? Narad Muni said, "Oh, the Lord said that you will return this life only. After finishing this life, you will go back home." Oh, very nice. So then he asked out of curiosity, "What was my Lord doing?" So he described, he was passing an elephant through the needle, eye of the needle. Right? So this person, he started dancing, like very happy. So Narad Muni, he said, "Arey, do you believe such thing is possible?" Right? कोई हाथी को सुई की नोक से निकाल सकता है? Right? So then he replied, "Arey, when he can put an entire banyan tree in a small seed, what is this hathi in needle to निकाले, क्या बड़ी बात है?" Right? So everything is possible, and the pure devotee's vision is he's seeing everything in nature also. He sees in connection to the Lord, right? He sees how wonderful the creation of the Lord is, right? In a small seed, he packs up an entire banyan tree, right? ऐसा कोई कंप्यूटर देखा है, right? जो एक कंप्यूटर से एक पार्ट टूट गया, उसी को डाल दिया, नया कंप्यूटर उग गया. नहीं, not possible, right? So a Krishna consciousness is development of love of Krishna, a position transcendental even to material liberation. At this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self-realization, the devotee becomes one with Krishna in sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. An intimate relationship between the Lord and me and the devotee then exists. In that stage, the living entity can never be annihilated, nor is the personality of Godhead ever out of sight of the devotee. To merge in Krishna is spiritual annihilation. Devotee takes no such risk. It is stated in Brahma Samhita. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridaye Shivlokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the premeable Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Sham Sundar, situated within the heart of the devotees. So, for a Krishna conscious person, he is able to see Krishna everywhere, and his vision is such because it's anointed. Yeah, जैसे काजल लगाते ना, काजल लगाया right? Mataji's. Okay, किसी ने नहीं लगाया. Oh, you have played, right? So, kajal lagate hain, and there are multiple benefits also. It keeps the eye cool and makes it sharp, etc. So here, the kajal or the the salve of love, the ointment is the salve of love. It's not just regular kajal, salve of love. So with that love-filled eyes, you can see Krishna everywhere like that. So therefore, Krishna says, only a devotee can understand me. Devotee means somebody who has love for the Lord. So only he can understand me, not everyone. At this stage, Krishna never disappears from the sight of a devotee, nor does a devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. In the case of a yogi who sees Lord as Paramatma within the heart, the same applies. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. Right? Ashlisya va pada ratam inashtumam adarshanan mam marmahatam karotuva yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato mat prananathastu sayev naha. Right? Or no, sorry, not this one. Yugaitam what is that? Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishayitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahinam. Right? One of the slokas of Shikshashtakam. So where it says that even a moment appears like a yuga, right? A moment or 12 years, not if not yuga, at least 12 years, right? Like a moment appears like 12 years for a devotee who's in love with the Lord. Then he cannot see the Lord for a moment. It appears like 12 साल निकल गए, युग निकल गया, भगवान को देखने नहीं मिला. Gopis and Gopi Geet, they're cursing Brahma. What sort of creator are you? Right? क्या किया है तुमने? तुमको आता नहीं है. Right? Eyelids बना दिया. Blink करते रहते हैं. Because they could not bear separation from seeing Krishna with that blink of the eye. एक ऐसा झपक, अरे, for this much time I could not see the Lord. Right? So they're cursing Brahma कि क्या बनाया तुमने. Right? Defect है तुम्हारे manufacturing में. Like that. Okay. So any other thoughts, any reflections? Could you want to add something? Okay, you came in, so you don't know the context. Okay, so here the context is that how a devotee sees Krishna everywhere, right? And somebody and Premanjana Chirtapatti Vilochana, with the salve of love, they are able to see Krishna everywhere, right? In his eternal form of Sham Sundar in his heart. So that's the context. And someone who's able to see Krishna like that, he's never lost the Lord, and the Lord always remembers him. So anything you want to add?
So also when we have seen so many things working in this world, the question should arise that how are they working? When we see the sun rising and rains, now everyone is expecting when the rains will end. Now that rains have actually come. How is it that everything is moving as per order? And so who's put it in order like that? So the thought should come immediately to our mind. So there is a controller behind everything. If there is a traffic signal, red signal is automatic to me. ऐसा नहीं कि गाड़ी चला रहे तो कभी भी उसका मन करता है तो cycling होता है. No, it is controlled and made like that. There's a person within the mechanism of attracting lights also. Similarly, when we are seeing the world around us, the thought should come that how is it that things are working just perfectly? जैसे काफी सालों पहले मुंबई में बारिश नहीं हुई थी, तो drought जैसा था, और the government had to spend lakhs of rupees just to transport water from one place to the other. खाली पानी पहुंचाने के लिए एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पे जहाँ पे बिल्कुल पानी नहीं था. The same water is just going up free में
Float होकर के
floating in the form of clouds. Everywhere it's there. How is it happening? So many tons of water floating in the sky. When it comes down, it's pure. Filtered water. It's a form of water. Same water is salty, it's preserved in the ocean. It goes up, it becomes pure and comes down. So it's not happening just by chance. So when you see these things also, we should not mention that there is a controller behind its creation. That is Krishna. Nothing happens by chance. Something scientists say by chance. By chance, कुछ अच्छा नहीं होता है. By से कुछ अच्छा नहीं निकलता. Everything else. So usually you should see that, oh, this is Krishna. Krishna also saving people as the sun and the lights. Without the sun seeing, we cannot see. If we switch up all these lights, we will be able to see anything. We are depending on the sunlight or light. We are so much proud of our eyes, we want to see everything. Our eyes are also limited.
Thank you. Very nice point. Yes. Any other questions or reflections? Reflection is anything you heard in the class which you liked, which you're taking back. Right. We talked about someone listening attentively. So now is a test. There's a prasad. Yes. Any questions? Any reflection? Huh?
During lockdown, I heard devotees come get to the standing in the shrine, trying so much, and when the gates open finally, Krishna reciprocated so well that they went